How the heck are you, everybody? I'm Fastidious. Welcome to my channel, and welcome to a showcase on this beautiful demon right over here, the main man, Valderon. Valdi, as I will from hence on, I don't know how to say that. I'm going to keep calling him Valdi, is what I'm trying to say. I love this guy. He is so fun. I've been stocking up on my ancients, saving them for many ancient summoning events we've had. I've skipped. So I think I'm coming up on like 50, and all in anticipation of this guy. So you might be thinking, we don't have him on global. He must be on test server. No, I'm not. I'm on the account of the fantastic Ray from the Dragon Slayers community. So you can see it's quite the juicy account. I think it's the most juiced up account in the world. You guys have seen it before. Big shout out to Ray. He just got the world's first 100,000 blood on the guild boss, no friend assist. So he broke 100,000, which is crazy, double what you need for the max chest, and he didn't use a friend assist, right? Only with his own heroes. I think he's up to like 102. I can actually show you his teams right now, guys. So he's at 203. This is with 2 attempts. So he's averaging just under 102. This is like, what, 108? 101.8, excuse me, 108. 101.8 or so, 101.8.5. 8.75, somewhere in that range. He's trying to get to like that 104, 105 range. That's probably going to be the natural cap for his account. What I'm trying to say is, the reason I'm telling you this is one, so I can brag about Ray's cool accomplishment. I think it's awesome. Congrats to my friend Ray. But also to say, this is not a guide, but it is a showcase of how freaking badass Valderon is. It's also not going to be like a full kit breakdown in him or anything. I will make that for you guys, no question, especially if you want it. I assume you do. You can let me know in the comments. You can also let me know if you've also been saving for him because you've been hearing murmurs about how good he is. And now you're about to witness the murmurs be actualized into how insane he is. He is so good. It's insane. So, okay, let me exhale for a second. I love this guy. And what we're going to do, it's a juiced up team, but we're going to do, you can see just these 8 guys, and it's going to be a straight up only chaotic team. We're bringing Estrid for a little debuffing. We're bringing Dolores for a little buffing. Everybody else is a chaotic unit. I'm even bringing Durza, who I'm not even putting onto a chaotic squad. You know, if I wanted, I could throw like Vladov on here to be a little lord for him. And help him out with that. Actually, can you do that? No, you can't. You can't do Lord skills of the same faction cannot take effect in 2 different teams. So I can't even do that. I wasn't going to do it anyway because I want to run it like a super lean team. But you can see it's just I really want to highlight that Chaos is super duper viable. And if you're going to look at this and say, well, how good is he? You're using Ray's account. It's like the greatest account ever. I don't need him. That's just dead wrong. And you're going to see that here. Obviously, you don't need to run a team that's this cracked out with an A4 Lugaru. And I'll show you everybody that we're working with here. A5 Ardia. Ray is insane. A4 Durza, that kind of thing. Only an A0 Sargok, I will say. But, you know, you could run a Chaos team with an Infernal team, or a Piercer team, or now with Lust, a Nightmare team, right? And that will easily get you, once you have the requisite skill ups and gear you've invested in your account, that will very comfortably get you a 50k blood. However, what we're going to do here is kind of like a challenge mode thing, where we're just using chaotic units, again with a little debuffing from Estrid and a little support from Dolores. And we're gonna make it happen. It wasn't that easy, to be honest, because with Laurel or Eloin I could get it a lot easier, but I wanted to keep it at least a little teeny bit approachable. I'm not saying free to play. This is the most pay to win thing ever. We're running a Chaos squad, but I wanted to limit myself a bit. So I have been working on this for, I'm looking now, almost 3.5 hours. But I'm pretty proud of what we accomplished. I'm very excited for you guys to see Valderon in action. I'm not going to tell you how much damage he puts out, but it's so much. It's insane. And he just looks so cool. I mean, he literally looks like he should be called Abomination. This guy's a total freak. Without further ado, let's get into this run to show you what an all-chaotic, Valdi-led squad is capable of. Let's get into it.
Fastidious.
Fastidious.
Alrighty, so as you guys can see, I've moved myself up on the screen a little bit, and that's so you can see all the cool quick cast stuff that is going to come when I do this. I will say, and I'll show you the gear on all these heroes later, I'm not going to do a full kit breakdown. I think a lot of people know how Ardia works, maybe not Sargak and Lugaru, or apparently he's called Lugaru, which I think I actually call him Lugaru. Apparently it's French, because I thought people were saying that as a joke, but apparently he's called Lugaru. But I will show you Carnelian when we're done, because this is only possible with her, and of course with Valdi. You need Valderon and Carnelian to make this work. Everything else you can swap in other chaotic DPS, and ideally, quite frankly, you're not going to run this team. You're going to run half of this team or 2/3 of this team, and then you're going to bring in some Infernals or some Piercers or some Nightmares, something like that. Maybe even some Northerner. That's something I could play with too if people want to see that. once you do get this thing up and you have the right gear to make it work, this is probably the easiest 50k you're ever going to see. Once you line it up, you just kind of click down the line with the quick cast. I'll show you all in a sec, but for now, I guess, I don't know, if you got popcorn, grab it and watch the Valdi show. We'll get into his kit after, we'll get into Carnelian's kit after, we'll show the gear, but for now, let's hop in, let's do this playtest. I love playtests. It makes the content creation stuff so much easier. I know they didn't make it for us, but boy, am I happy. So let's skip this thing. And there's one immediate quirk I have to tell you guys about Valderon. So he's got a cool animation where he kind of comes out of the depths of hell. If you had placed Dolores right when I placed him, you would not be able to land the invig buff on him. Actually, I can demo that. It's so stupid. It's actually so stupid. This is like the most niche, silly, doesn't matter thing. But once people get him, you'll see. So if I place right now and then I place Dolores before he pops out of the ground, no invig buff for him. You have to wait till he, rises from the depths of hell. Then it will work. So something I noticed, so if you are on Forerunner and you're wondering why it wasn't working with Valderon, or you're looking forward to getting him on Global, now you know. So you wait for him to pop up, then you can place. So we're going to put Lugaru right behind him. Then we're going to put Durza, who's going to be like our support guy, our debuffer guy, and our buffer, increased damage for us guy. He is in an invig set, so we place him so he can buff, not bust. I've got lust on my mind. So we can buff Lugaru. And then we will, of course, put our next damage dealer is going to be Ardia. And I also, over here on Carnelian, I've got an invig set, so I can place that. Now, Ardia is buffed, Lugaru is buffed, Mr. Valdi is buffed. We're kind of cooking. We can place Sargok here. We can wait for this little shadow guy to disappear, and then we can place Estrid. And I'll tell you, all we do is hold right now. It's pretty simple. And that's kind of why I'm loving this comp. It's crazy. It took me so long to get it running with the right hero selection and things like that and moving the right gear around. But now that I have it running, you can see we just hold, we hold, we hold. We wait for the last meteorite strike or meteoric strike, whatever it's called. Meteorite impact, excuse me. And right when it ends the bar, we can click down the line. So I don't know if you guys can see my mouse, right? So we're going to go click, 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 click. Wait for everyone to turn orange, click, and we're good. And that's it. You can throw it on 2x, and it's unfortunately, with the chaos, no pun intended, that happens in a scrunched up chaotic team like this in the go boss, you can't really see who's doing the damage. But this is Valdi up here, and just try to keep your eye on some of the numbers this guy puts out. I mean, look, these numbers are outrageous. He is so strong, it's like freakish. Like, it really is, and he's one of the best guild boss units in the game. He's one of the coolest units in the game. He's just so fun. So we're unloading on this. You can see we're already coming up on like 13k, which is really, really strong. And again, it's really easy. We just wait. We're going to hold. I will say one immediate quirk I can tell you about before we even get to breaking down his kit is he has Potent Surge. Potent Surge is something maybe you only heard before with respect to Uridan, because before Valderon, Uridan was the only hero in the game that had Potent Surge. Basically allows him to go not to 100% maxed out ult, 200%, and he gets these special abilities when you have Potent Surge. So I can even explain it now. So he gets a stack of Chaotic Vitality. That's going to allow him to do some really cool stuff. So increases attack, increases damage, but he can get 2 stacks if you wait for Potent Surge, and he can inflict some nice physical damage vulnerability. So we want this to go up to 200%. So we're just going to sit here pretty. The only person we really need to trigger is once this meteorite comes, we can trigger Carnelian. Just to get some of her nice, crazy Carnelian healer stuff. You can see we maintain very, very, except for Estrid, who I've got in the Lunacy Visor, we're able to maintain very low HP thresholds, and that's why Carnelian is so cool. She's so good at keeping her units alive, but not really healing them that much, which works perfectly, synergizes perfectly with a Chaos team. Now there's nothing left to do. We just sit and we wait. So there is our second Infernal Roar. Once we get to the second Meteorite Impact, here it comes. We can get ready, and again, once it runs out, we're going to click on Valdi, and then we go right down the line. It's that easy. And it really is that easy. Throw it on 2x and enjoy. Handle it like it's nothing, and you can see we're already comfortably going to be in the 20Ks. Now we got a little nice delivery. We should be into like the mid to high 20s. So yeah, 27, that's about what I'm looking for. It feels pretty comfy. See, it's just good damage. It's just a good squad. And here you go. He's already, when he comes out of it, he's got a great amount of rage regen he's able to build off of his attacks. He's got a really high base number for that. Obviously, I don't know what it is because they don't share it in the game. I could find it in the Asset Explorer. Shout out to Terran. But I'm assuming it's super high because he just stacks it like in an insane way. And there's nothing listed in his kit about that. But it's really cool. So we just kind of can wait for him to go up to 200%. It's the same routine, the same exact routine. We just hang out, we let it go. And Viceroy just showed up in the chat, said, oh, he figured it out. I knew he would. Yeah, because I've literally been working on this I worked on it for over 3 hours, but we did figure it out. So here we go. This is the first Meteorite Impact. We can sit pat and just enjoy our life. Now we can get ready with Carnelian before this Infernal Roar. Let's trigger her. And now we're getting ready for the last Meteorite Impact of Phase 3. So it's the exact same procedure again. As soon as it lands, you can wait, see those purple numbers, and we click, right down the line. It's got to be one of the easiest 50K comps you've got. It helps to be on Ray's account. It helps to have things like an A4 Lugaru and an A5 Ardia, who you can't see because she's on auto ult. But it's just nice. It's just smooth. And look at that. We handle that like it's nothing. No Cetrum needed. No Twin Fiend or Pyros needed. No Soul Cadens. We just get it. And we're already going to be up in the 40s. We throw this thing on 2x here, guys. There we go. We're in the 40s. And now we're just going to do the same thing again. We wait for one more last big burst where we can get the potent surge from Valdi. So it takes him a little while to warm up, but we should just be able to get it off when he gets to 200. So it is looking really good right now. You can see we're already almost in the mid 40s. It's a little tight, but we are going to get it. Let's wait. And I'm going to 1x this right about here. So you can see when we get to like 22 seconds, I can already trigger Dolores. I'm trying to see if anybody else has a timed thing here. No, probably better just we do them all together. Oh, here's a 20 seconds on Lugaru. So we can trigger Lugaru. And then we can do the rest exactly. Or we can, yeah, we'll do the rest exactly when Valdi hits. We can trigger Carnelian right when he hits 200%. Come on. There we go. Keep that on auto. And let's fly. Come on, baby. We should just make it. 49K, and let's get that 50K nice and clutch. About 50, just under 51K. So I've been averaging between like 50 and a half, and I think high 51s. Maybe we hit 52 once. There you go, 50.7K. I can move myself back down now. And this is like, yeah, just on the back of chaotic units, right? So Estrid, you know, she's there really just as a debuffer. She did put out a touch of damage just because she was on the field. Carnelian actually gets a little bit of damage even though she's a healer. Durza gets a little bit of damage even though he's just like a buffer debuffer guy. Dolores obviously nothing. But look at that. 159 million. I've gotten as high with this comp at the same comp, just, you know, there's obviously RNG involved. I've gotten all the way up to 175 million. I'll say Lugaru, I've also gotten up to 130. This is close to the highest we've seen. But then Ardia, the AoE hero, putting up almost 100 million. And then Sargok coming in at the end. I will say Sargok is not a top choice for this in terms of DPS. He's a top choice in terms of the fact that most of the best DPS from the Chaos faction are not platform units, right? They're melee units, they're floor units. So like Uridin would have been more fun, or Valeria or something like that. In the end, I did work with both of those for a little while. In the end, I decided to opt for Sargok. But I think that there's three big takeaways. How did we not die? All of these heroes, every chaotic hero, so everybody except for Dolores, and then of course Carnelian and Estrid, Carnelian being a healer, but all the non-healers, they're all trying to kill themselves. Not to do a trigger word there or anything, but they're all trying to not be alive as hard as they can. And the reason they don't die is because of Carnelian. So we'll have to get into her. And then the other big thing besides, I mean, look at that number. I'm telling you, maybe I can grab a picture. I don't know if I took one, but it did get up to 175 million. I'm sure if you did a whole thing focused just for him, we could get it even higher. And this is also without Laurel cycling, right? This would be a total breeze if you brought Laurel in here. And then, of course, we brought some other units from other factions. The other big takeaway is Lugaru is insane. Lugaru is insane. Lugaru is amazing. So he had a buff. It was a sneaky buff in the February patch. I mean, some people have talked about it. I think War Guides put some stuff up about it, or he streamed it or something. But probably the most slept on buff, because even if some people are talking about it, I think a lot of people don't realize we've got a totally S+ elite guild boss unit post buff. You guys know at the end of every month I'm going to be updating my I will be updating my tier list, and expect a big bump for Lugaru because he is nuts. Valderon will not be on it yet, but I'm hoping he comes soon. I would think within the next 2 to 3 ancient banners. Not to say he's going to be a 10x rate up hero. I sure freaking hope he will be, but I think he should at least be added to the hero pool. But I do think Moonton knows how anticipated he is, so they might try to wait for the perfect moment to cash in. You kind of can't really blame them. It is a business, and I think a lot of us are salivating for this guy, but he's just insane. So let's break down his kit. Let's talk a little about Carnelian. But that's the run. That's the showcase. Again, this is not a guide. I'm not claiming this is free to play in any way. This is Ray's account, but I think it's pretty darn cool. So there you go. Valderon, Total Freak, Valdi, my boy. Let's get into it. Let's look at these guys. I'll show you everyone's gear really quickly, and then we're going to talk Valdi and talk Carnelian, because those are the ones that I think are truly unique to what's going on here. So let's start with Ardia. Ray's Ardia is a freak. 103,000. She's A5. He's pulled a ton. I think he put 1 or 2 soul stones. I know he put at least 1 soul signature. Ageless Wrath, super endgame. You'll see a lot of the best players in the world using it now. When you reach certain things, I mean, getting that extra crit damage is enormous. I'll just click through. She's supremely good. And I will say thank you to Ray. He geared a lot of the main heroes for me. I think he also just didn't want me touching his stuff too much. He was nice, let me play with it. I did move a lot of gear around, especially with the supports and getting things cooking in the right way. But with the DPS, I trusted his build. So great build from Ray on his Ardia. I know it's like his favorite hero in the game, so I made sure not to touch her. Now we've got Carnelian. We'll circle back to her, but you can see just an Invig set, and we're just going for crazy high attack speed and some other things I'll explain shortly. So there is going to be Carnelian. We can go here to Sargok. We can check his artifact. He is wearing a Sharpshooter's Crest, so actually not what we would want to be putting on him, but again, I didn't want to touch these DPS builds. I will say I did swap some gear around for him. In the end, I just put the random stuff on him that he originally started with, so we could certainly juice this build up a lot more. Like, you know, some of the best DPS builds on Ray's account were not touched. Like, we're not using this awesome Cetrim build or this amazing Hot Sit build or anything like that, right? But Sargok, pretty solid. Where are you? Here you are, you buddy. I mean, all of Ray's gear is cracked, but we went broken set, right? And we still pulled it off. But certainly that 35 mil number could have been higher when it comes to the damage. And certainly this was an oversight, so it could have been even a lot less close. I will say also Ray doesn't really use Sargok and Lugaru, so those guys weren't even max skill. So that actually, let's go to Lugaru now so you can appreciate how freakish he is. Because granted he's A4, but he did all this without, you know, not even close to max skill ult. We're missing the lethal strike cooldown, which is really, really cool. We're missing some initial damage, not as essential, but also basic attack damage we really, really need on him. All in all, really nice stuff. Scarlet Hunt, it works really well, obviously, because he puts out bleed, and of course Ardia puts out bleed. So this is a great, probably best in slot or close to it for him. Maybe you could try him with a Wailing Skull and you could get a bit more damage. It would depend on the rest of your comp. But it's really good stuff. And I did straight up put like some awesome gear on him. So I put Hex's gear on him. And Hex's, if you guys don't know, Ray's Hex can hit 400 million damage on Nightmare 3. And it's like over 360 or 370 on Nightmare 4. Ray, you can let me know in the comments. But 400 million damage on Nightmare 3. It's just, Ray does some weird stuff in Guild Boss. I mean, it's quite the account. Enough said. Let's go to Durza. So this is someone I built all by myself. Proud of myself? No, not really, but basically I had to build him because he wasn't being used the way I wanted to use him, so we went for attack speed basically, and I wanted some attack speed, some rage regen if I could pick any up, so we got to 23%, some nice ancients over here, and we're really just trying to get him to go fast so we can get that ult off. I will show you him because some people don't think Durza is very good. His Sanguine Right's really cool. So he removes his own HP and also allies, so that's really good if you have a chaotic team. If you don't, he's terrible, right? But if you have a chaotic team, especially supported by Carnelian, so your guys don't die, we'll get to her very shortly, you get the HP nice and low. Lots of them have benefits that they do better things when they have 30% or under HP. And certainly when you pair them with a Lord or a Legendary Lord, you get huge boosts. So we'll do that when we go to the Lord skill of Valderon. So this actually really helps. He gives an attack speed increase. And then we have this over here, the Nether Blood. When an ally in range receives damage, there's a 30% chance to deal AoE damage to nearby enemies. Doesn't matter, but he puts out vulnerabilities. That's really helpful for us. And then also when they HP drops low, he can do damage increase. That helps in a big way. So Durza, for specifically a chaotic team, it can be a super, super, super strong support. You'll see over here we ran him in a Tome of Horror. So that was my build for Durza. Moving right along, Estrid, built her myself as well. Really just going for any form of DPS, but really the focus on attack speed from her basic attack. You know, it seems like a normal basic attack, but if you go to her passive, we have that 30% chance to land defense reduction. So the quicker we get her basic attacking, the more opportunities we're going to have to get that 30% chance to land that 30% decreased defense. So a really cool debuffer in that. And then Dolores in the most Dolores-y build you could ask for. Just attack bonus with flat attack, and right down the line in an Invig set. It's a pretty solid Dolores build. I will say it's not like a mind-blowing Dolores build. Like 12-8 with Invig, super, super, super good. But you know, most people are getting like 12k plus once you're deeper in the game. So you can see even Ray just has like, I mean, it's awesome, but it's a fairly normal Dolores, right? It doesn't, you know, you just need to get that big boost of attack, but the difference between like 12 and 12-8, it's kind of a wash. You can see for Artifact, we did the classic Keen Wisdom, and that's basically it. So let's start with Carnelian, and then we'll talk about the real hero, Valdi. So Carnelian's confusing as hell because she's really, I wouldn't say useless, but she's shockingly niche unless you're running a Chaos team, in which case she's shockingly necessary. So let's start with the talent because it introduces the idea of Soul Essence, which is kind of what her whole kit is built around. After the hero's healing waves reach an ally without Soul Essence 7 times, they get Soul Essence. So clearly, she wants to make sure her allies have Soul Essence. What does that do? When receiving fatal damage, the bearer consumes the Soul Essence and becomes unyielding for 5 seconds. So if you're new to the game, unyielding is like an unkillable buff. Otherwise, it's unyielding, just like someone like Baron has, or what Valeria can get, heroes like that. Basically, they cannot die for that period of time. The way her unyielding works is once it's over, if you've been healed back up or you haven't died, you stay alive. It's not like it expires and then you die. It's not a delayed death. It's a period of unkillability, if you will. You cannot be slain. So if we go to the basic attack, releases a healing wave to one ally in range, grants attack-based healing, so she is an attack-based healer, to the target reached if their HP is below 30%. I will say, her multipliers are not that strong. She doesn't do such big heals. She's designed exceptionally well. What she does is keep people alive just enough and then get soul essence on them just frequently enough that they don't die, but they stay super low health, which is the perfect synergy for the Chaos faction, right? And if their HP is below 30%, that is the key thing here. So she's really healing people up to that bottom threshold, but the upper level of the max benefit that a chaotic unit gets on almost all of their kits, and certainly when you pair them with their lords. So if we go to the ultimate now, grants soul essence to all allies with HP below 50% and grants them physical damage reduction and magic damage reduction. So that's really nice. They're going to take less damage, but she's going to make sure they get unkillable if they're getting anywhere close to death, so under 50%. It's just an amazing skill. This skill also is really, really cool because it can be useful. This is where she has like niche uses outside of just like some chaotic comp. We'll go a little faster because this is not a Carnelian guide or anything, but Healing Wave reaches an ally with Soul Essence. It will bounce to other nearby allies, so that's coming from her basic attack. So more opportunities to grant Soul Essence or hit them and then reach that 7-time trigger and then eventually guarantee it for them. And it's just great. Another thing, the Healing Wave reaches them. It deals 60% AoE damage, so that's how we did get that, whatever it was, 4 million. She does have some kind of light lockness in her that she can get some AoE magic splash damage going. But the key thing is she puts out these Soul Essence buffs or marks, however you want to think of them, and it gives this unyielding unkill ability to her allies, but she keeps them nice and low. And it's just perfect. She's just, if you run a Chaos team, there's no one better than her. She's the dream. So I want to be running more Chaos teams, so I really hope I get her. She's really cool. All right, on to the star of the show. Oh, and I never showed her artifact. I know people would complain about that. Her artifact, we're running Euphoric Orb. Duh. Let's keep that attack speed nice and high. Finally, Valdi, the total freak, the beautiful bastard. I love him so much. His kit's so confusing, so I'm not going to do such a deep dive here, but I just want to give you the gist of how he works. Let's actually pick it up with the ultimate, since that's what we already touched on. Basically what's going on here is we have that chaotic vitality, so you can get up to 2 stacks. To get the 2 stacks, this lasts 20 seconds, so it's not like you can be building stacks over time. To get the 2 stacks, it's when you trigger the ult when you reach Potent Surge. So you reach not 100%, but 200% build up on the ult. You're going to get 2 stacks. So you cut off some HP, which obviously synergizes well with him being a chaotic unit, a chaotic lord. You see he's just stronger when he has less health. That's how they all work. And then each stack's going to give 40% post-deployment attack increase, and then also crit damage increase by 40%. So if you do the Potent Surge, you're getting 80%, almost doubling up whatever attack you built onto him, and then 80% more crit damage. It's so good. It's like so freaking good. He also has this vulnerability, physical damage vulnerability. I will say 20% really cool. Kind of the standard for like, that's what we tend to see. Would it be sick if it was like 30? Yes. Would that probably make him too OP? Probably. I don't know. I think that would be cool. Maybe I'm being crazy greedy. I just think I want him to have maybe 25, more inclined to like what Twin Fiend has or Soul Cadens when you have them A1. But I mean, it's crazy. It's so good. So his basic attack is just a normal basic attack, 120% damage to one enemy, except he's got a talent that makes it one of the best basic attacks in the whole game in terms of sheer damage. Basic attacks has at least a 25% chance to trigger Chaotic Annihilation. What is that? Just way more damage. So single target, 350% damage. It's almost 3 times stronger than the skilled up basic attack. And then also splash damage up to 5 nearby enemies. So why did it say at least 25%? Well, if his health is at 30% or lower, he reaches the upper threshold, which is a 50% chance. So a 1 in 2 chance. So you want to make sure he has some decent attack speed, because that's a crazy amount of damage from a basic attack. Now, if we go to the passives, you can see over here, Chaos Incarnate. This one I'm not going to break down too much. Basically, it's like if he's going to take fatal damage, instead he gets this Karma of the Fallen buff debuff thing. It's going to reduce his attack, reduce his damage, but you get that instead of dying, so it's pretty nice. When he gains Chaotic Vitality, so like when you trigger the ult, you will be protected from that for 5 seconds. He's not about to die, so we actually never get this placed on us, so it's not such a huge deal for this specific fight, but it is really cool if you're going to use him in other content. and he will because he's crazy. Anarchy's Pulse, when Chaotic Annihilation, again, that's going to be from the talent. That's like the souped up version. Shout out to my girlfriend, Soup. That's the souped up version of his basic attacks. When it hits a target, it's going to restore 50% extra rage. When an ally in the battlefield dies, restores 30% rage. So we didn't see anyone die, so we didn't get that. But that also contributes to, and maybe that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'll look into the base stats in the game file. But that's how he's able to build that rage up so quickly. So 50% extra rage. So 900 cost, not that expensive. It's not cheap, but it's fairly similar to Uridan. Uridan max level here is at 800, so he's at 900. So you need 1800 cost, but he has no other weird conditions like Uridan. Basically, just as long as he's hitting people with Chaotic Annihilation, which happens 50% of the time if you keep him at 30% health or less, you're getting 50 extra rage. So you build him pretty quick. You can cycle through this really, really fast and get the diabolic manifestation up as much as possible, which is how we get the chaotic vitality, we get the physical damage vulnerability. He's just amazing. He's amazing. You guys saw it. I'm going to end it right there. What else is there to say? We'll show you the gear, we'll show you the artifact, but he's just amazing. I love him so much. I love this guy so much. So let's click through the gear. There's that amazing Ageless Wrath. Here's some nice Annihilating Might. It's not even Ray's best gear. I mean, for a lot of us, this would be our best gear, but it's not even Ray's best gear. There's room for improvement here, right? He's got crazy high base attack, over 6,600, so more than like Salazar, who is 6,500. We're not yet at Ardia range, but I think he's the second highest in the game now, or he will be when he arrives on Global. 21.5. It's great. You can build that pretty comfortably while still going heavily into crit damage, so we got 379. But if you put your best gear late onto the game, if we put Ray's best gear on, we could have got this number to like 400. We could have kept this around 20k. We could have the attack speed to like 500. This attack interval to like 1.1 or 1.2. Maybe I'll have to convince Ray to do that and give him his absolute best gear. But you can see, even with this amazing gear, don't get it twisted, he is such a freaking god. I love him. Valder God, that's what we can call him. I love you, Valdi, and let's check that artifact. You guys saw it already. It was the Wailing Skull. Let me know if you like this kind of content. It's showcasey. I'm not trying to give anyone blue Valdi balls or whatever and tease you too much. I do not know when he's coming. I do know that it should be pretty soon from what I've heard, but pretty soon could be next week or in 2 months. If it was more than 2 months, I'd be darn shocked. So I guess I'll put that on the record, but I really don't know when, but I hope it's soon, and I will continue saving at least until he's added to the hero pool. If I can hold out longer, we'll see how those blue Valdi balls of mine are doing. I might have to keep waiting if I can pull it off until he's actually on a rate up, but maybe it won't happen because he's so flippin' strong. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you like my stuff, like it. Hit that notification bell. It's the best way to support me. Turn on all notifications. You can do that for me or any content creators that you like or love or want to support. You can also get in the comments, say anything good or bad. I do not mind. Off a duck's back. It is what it is, baby. Share it with your mother. Share it with your mother. I'll see you in the next one.
Fastidious.